This episode of Total Drama Reviews contains clips from Total Drama World Tour. I do not own Total Drama World Tour. All rights go to FreshTV. Remember to be civil and do not be mean in the comments. Seriously, it can get really messed up. Carpe diem, my name is Ultranatic, and this is Total Drama Reviews. This is where I, as a lover of animation, reality shows, and music, look over the show that combine them together the best. And in today's episode, titled I See London, where do you think our characters are going? Istanbul was Constantinople, now it's Istanbul, not Constantinople. Okay, I'll stop. It's obviously London. Yep, our cast travels to the same place Doctor Who keeps coming back to for whatever reason each time. But what's more, this is yet another horror-themed episode as our character's challenge involves hunting down
Jack the Ripper.
Jack the Ripper.
Oh yeah, there was a Star Trek episode about this guy too. I liked it, but it was pretty dumb. And sad to say, this episode isn't quite as enjoyable as that. Oh, it has its moments, as most whole drama episodes do. Don't rush me, I will get to that, trust me. Thank you. But there are parts of this episode that I consider awkward, immature, and a touch mean-spirited, which I suppose is fitting for a story about Jack the Ripper in a present-day animated reality show, but just because it makes sense by tone doesn't make it enjoyable from beginning to end. But this is yet another episode that I struggle calling bad because aren't the few good elements enough to take away from the less than likable focus? Well, let's find out. Arm yourselves in case the lights go out. Ah! I thought something was going to happen there. I'm just going to ignore that. This is I See London. We all begin a comedy class where both remaining teams sit around as Courtney accidentally sits on Gwen's sunburned hand.
Sorry, how do you end up with sunburn on just one hand?
I don't know.
Make sure you get the bikini in the shot.
Say cheese, bro.
Okay, is Cody as bad as Sierra in their creepy actions towards the person they love who doesn't love them back? No, but that doesn't mean I give a pass to what he's doing here either. I mean, it's not the most perverse thing he's done to her. In fact, it's just getting a picture of her in a bikini. What's so disgusting about that? But that raises the question, why do you have to wait until Gwen was asleep to do this? If you calmly ask a conscious person in swimwear to take a picture with them, their answer would likely be, sure, that's a very normal request of you to make. So that means one of two things happened here. Either Cody did ask and Gwen said no, probably because he asked in a skeevy fashion, or Cody's just an idiot and he's doing this for no reason. Either way, I don't like it. He still deserves better than this.
There, cutie pie.
What is wrong with this woman?
Soak your hand in this. It'll cool the burn. It's a special mix of green tea and bird guano.
Wait, guano? Isn't that a nicey nice name for poop?
Ew! Poop that's full of healing ingredients. It's gross, but it helps, right?
Yes. Well, thanks for being nice-ish.
Okay, as nice? Sure, I'll go with that. As nice as this gesture from Courtney is, why does she just happen to have bird poop in her possession? Green tea I can buy. They likely had that in first class where they've been to several times now, but what is Courtney doing in her spare time that allows her to have avian feces on hand?
You're a busy bee. A little goes a long way, dear.
Yeah, Mrs. Doubtfire's deleted scenes are something to behold. Also, as much as Courtney's trying to help, I think that remedy is bird shit. Not just literally, I mean in the sense that it doesn't actually work. In fact, it can carry diseases if you don't wash your hands afterwards, so I advise Gwen to practice good hygiene or else... My leg! I won't at a point, since it's never confirmed if she washes her hands or not after that, but don't worry, we're tantalizingly close to that 400 mark.
It's not a question of if, but when.
We see Sierra using her pizza computer again. Still don't get it. Noah mocks her, Owen sneezes milk and Jamaican peppers out his nose, and Alejandro walks away in disgust. I can't imagine why. He then overhears Chris and Jeff have a conversation with a mysterious figure, but then gets captured by the gentleman ghost Shadow and disappears for the entire challenge. Well, at least whichever team loses now, Alejandro won't be the cause in the slightest for once.
Attention, helpless competitors. We've been denied permission to land, so you're gonna have to jump. And Chef may have miscounted parachutes.
I'm a cook, not a mathematician.
Suddenly, so much of this show is making sense now. Also, I already referenced Star Trek earlier, so no Dr. McCoy joke. Oh, a song number already? Okay, I thought we already had one that involved the contestants falling from the sky. Oh, it's just the team logo. Nobody noticed that mistake in post? Or any of these mistakes in post? Wow, that is the roughest parachute landing I've seen on this show, despite the parachute actually deploying for once. Seriously, that was a hard thud we heard, and Noah definitely got crushed by Owen again. And I'll bet Noah wasn't much of a cushion for Owen in that fall himself. So I'm calling it, that's +2 on the casualty counter, which means... my leg! Didn't I tell you? We were going to reach 400 before the season ends, and by God, we did it. Why am I celebrating that? I might need some help. Back to the show. We then see Chris explain the challenge to the contestants, where they have to track down Jackie Boy through a series of clues.
Today, you'll be tracking that bad boy down. But be careful. Jack's also hunting you.
Can I just say, I know tons about the Ripper. I did a speech on him in grade 6.
Wow, that's unexpectedly useful of you.
The librarian said my fascination was morbid and occasionally offensive.
I've said this before, but I'll say it again. Yes, more of this, Gwen, please. Okay, for the record, I think Gwen's been overall fine these last 2 seasons. Maybe a bit too much Gwen focus in season 2, but as an individual personality, at least she has a spark where it felt like she wanted to play the game, in comparison to season 1. But my favorite aspects of her still are when she embraces the goth sides of her persona. Her enjoyment of horror movies, the weird friends she has back home, and now her morbid fascination with an urban legend serial killer are exactly what I've been looking for. Give us more of that Lydia Dietz weirdness. That's the stuff that makes for great TV and memorable lines.
Get this, my grade 6 speech, the Tower of London.
Wow, we're like a nerdette dream team.
Oh yeah, and her budding friendship with Courtney is still compelling too. I don't know why, but something about characters you never see interacting in the past suddenly bonding to show that they're not as different as they seem is just a cliche I get a kick out of. And of course it leads for good build up to... not now, we'll get to that later.
Your challenge is to follow a series of clues through the tower complex, all the way to the Ripper's secret lair. Bag the criminal mastermind before he gets you, and you win. Your first clue will be found during the changing of the guard. Your clue is hidden in his uniform. So, one of you has to strip him down to his gitch until you find it.
Whoa, strip a dude? I'm out.
Yeah, that's disgusting. Even though we've seen men naked on this show several times before, but still, ew, yuck, not my job.
Up to you, bro. $1 million bucks. That's all I'm saying.
I'm with Chris on this one. Again, scary when that happens, but if the only thing standing between me and $1 million is taking the clothes off a man who is literally going to stand still and not put up a fight, I wouldn't exactly be complaining.
And while you're at it,
But this I will complain about, unless it's another false alarm.
It's creepy how they stand there.
Nope, not a drill this time. Yeah, I'll complain about the song number we get this episode, Changing Guard Mix. Well, first off, I know not every song this season has a chorus to make a title from, but you gotta come up with something better than just subject of song and then the word mix hastily slapped on at the end.
If we're gonna find that clue,
There's only one thing to do.
But it's not just the title. I don't think I like anything about this song. For one thing, that sample sounds jarringly familiar.
Cause I'm going to Strawberry Field.
shocker, it doesn't measure up in the slightest. It sounds like the Jungle Book overture being given a 2009 remix. And that's ignoring the lyrics, which are in fact about stripping the guards down.
Hey buddy, can we bribe you to strip yourself down?
And yes, stripping people down is gross. I only mock them being disgusted by it because they've seen it and done far more disgusting things on this show. But I guess if they were gonna be disgusted by this, then so was the audience, because this song makes me genuinely uncomfortable.
For someone to strip him down, and Tyler, do that to you.
It is so slow and unpleasant and unfunny. It feels like a song made with first season quality. And yes, I like the first season, but in hindsight, its pacing and comedy were pretty sluggish, especially compared to World Tour.
Chris McLean! What's up, man? It's an honor to meet you, man.
The Jeffster! Welcome to the island, man.
Thanks, man.
They say man one more time, I'm gonna puke.
Boring. I'm bored. This is taking too long.
But at least it had pacing and comedy. This just makes me squeamish. There's zero attempts at a melody. The lyrics are just embarrassing.
I'm allergic to uniforms. Okay, that's just weak.
And speaking of the lyrics, I don't like the characters very much in this song either. It's just them wasting time trying to pass the buck of this task to someone else. The Amazons initially settle on Gwen, who, despite having one hand that she can use, but would be very painful to do so.
Okay, so then I have to do it? Hello? Injury, ow!
Is still a worse pick for this assignment than Courtney, who just doesn't want to make Duncan jealous.
No way! I can't strip him! Duncan will freak!
It's an old British guy. I think Duncan will be fine. Cody, who doesn't give a reason at all. Heather, whose reason is an obvious lie. And Sierra, who... Oh god, Sierra.
Sierra, look, it's Cody. And I think he wants to strip.
Poor honey! Quick, get out of those things, and that will help, I bet.
Yeah, she's not only so stupid that she falls for this big-time Rush gimmick.
Hey, look! It's Dax Evon!
But if you thought the concept of Sierra stripping Cody down was gag-worthy enough on its own, then you should hear the unedited version. Oh yeah, Cartoon Network had to retool the lyrics to this song, and for the first time since they changed the word boobies to chest, I actually agree with the edits they made here.
Poor honey! Quick, get out of those things, and that will help, I bet. Before our honeymoon or marriage? Cody, you're a trip. I made a vow that Cody's the only man for me. I can only strip Cody, and he can only strip me.
There's a toilet somewhere waiting for my vomit. I'll be right back.
Totally
Well, that was heinous. So Team Amazon get their clue first, leading them to a torture chamber where one of them will have to be stretched on a rack in order to receive their next clue. Okay, that is an aspect of this episode I respect, that it feels even more like a leg of The Amazing Race, with clues and everything teams have to find in order to get to their final destination.
Who'd like to carry the motion? Cody? Sierra? Where'd they go?
Oh, this is just like in the olden days when ladies and lords would sneak off together to kiss and get arrested for being in love.
What is wrong with you, woman?
So Kodera get captured because, what's the first rule of slasher films again?
First rule of slasher films, never go off alone.
And Courtney and Gwen band together to nominate Heather for torture. Okay, there is a history of hatred between these people, so this makes perfect sense.
I'm the queen. I think I ate too many royal beans at the royal luncheon.
Meanwhile, Team Chris continue to be gross and useless at the first part of the challenge. Alejandro really was holding that team together, wasn't he? As Tyler gets a casualty count for using his mouth to take off someone's socks.
My leg!
Even though that was never mentioned as a rule, Tyler's just being a moron again.
A pen in his pants pocket, lint in his socks. That's it. No clue. And no way am I searching his boxers.
We could find another guy to strip.
Okay, the 9-year-old part of my brain found that funny. And of course, it was in the hat the whole time. Yeah, if stripping a person was so icky to these people, how was that not the first place they checked?
I guess I didn't really think that through.
We cut back to Heather being tortured, which Courtney and Gwen obviously take no pleasure in. I'm being sarcastic if that wasn't clear. I'm not putting points on the casualty counter for this, only because as painful as it looks, no apparent physical damage is caused by this as far as we can see.
You did that on purpose, you...
With that said, I will give a non-casualty count-based point for Heather swearing there. Again, the funniest moments in this show are the most vulgar ones.
I know, Courtney. I never thought I'd even be able to tolerate her. But she's stealable.
And yeah, this is the point where the episode swings back to being good again. We get good drama and good comedy from both teams. This feels more like the right track.
I know. Gwen, she's not a completely asocial freak after all.
And naturally, the more buildup we get of these two as friends, the better dramatic payoff we get for... Would you please wait your turn? I know you're all eager to see this, so am I. I'm saving it for last. Meanwhile, Team Chris make it to their rack, and Tyler volunteers to be stretched out while Noah complains about Alejandro bossing him around.
Quick, tie him down before Alejandro shows up and makes me do it just because I'm shorter.
I mean, would I be annoyed too? Sure, but assuming he's referring to the Paris challenge where he asked Noah to go through the lasers because he was smaller, that was technically the best bet of getting that piece without injury. Except for maybe Izzy with her acrobatics, but...
I don't think my imaginary ball trick will stop the Yeti a second time.
Oh, I'll get it.
You distracted her, that's your own fault.
Why don't you like Al? He's great.
I don't trust the guy. He's like an eel dipped in grease, swimming in motor oil.
Dirty?
Slippery.
He has such a way with words.
Team Amazon get their clue, leading them to the banquet hall, but apparently Heather never learned her lesson from Hook, Line, Screamer because...
You two gal pals go in. I'll guard the door.
Okay, I mean the following question entirely in jest, but Heather, are you just asking to be killed by someone? You provoke people while on high ledges, freely sit in a lie-detecting electric chair.
Do you think Beth could be a threat?
Absolutely not.
And lie, and deliberately break horror movie rules even when you have the knowledge of them. Heather has a worse death wish than Deadpool in Deadpool 2. Team Chris get their clue too, but Tyler gets forgotten and captured by the Ripper. And big shocker, so does Heather. I know, I couldn't have seen that coming either.
Gold toothpick, emerald-studded toothbrush. What is wrong with these royals and their dentistry?
Too easy? Yeah, too easy.
Hey, got anything round in there? Now sit.
Oh, so cute. How did you do that?
I taught my lizards obedience.
That is impressive. Not as impressive as Noah's invisible ball trick, but impressive all the same. Who teaches lizards obedience?
The Ripper's most natural place has 2 levels inside its space. Go use your sack to bring the guy back at the red starting line to the race.
If I remember right from my speech, he did his dirty work in Whitechapel.
So we go there, and we look for a 2-story place.
It's legit kind of a shame that these two very smart women couldn't figure out a clue that easy. It literally said 2 levels and red starting line. This wasn't exactly a calculus final.
Easy peasy.
Double-decker bus?
Yeah.
Here, Ripper, Ripper, Ripper.
But the Ripper gets to jump on them instead, and Owen gives a Dirty Dancing reference.
Nobody locks my little buddy in the corner.
What does that movie have to do with this episode in any way? But through a comedy of errors, Owen defeats the Ripper, completing the challenge for his team. But just who is the Ripper? Well, after they get back to the plane, where it's revealed that every contestant is alive and well, and heard every comment they made.
Like an eel dipped in grease.
They did poop past to you.
It's okay.
They unmask this unholy crime to humanity.
Ezekiel?
Found him living in the cargo hold, homeschooling with the rats.
Okay, only some of this cast should be shocked that Ezekiel is still around. Team Amazon at least thought they saw him in the Japan episode, and I forgot this moment from the exclusive clip for New Kids on the Block. Oh, and in that clip, Owen eats underwear, so belated casualty count there.
My leg!
I am the king of better late than never.
I was gonna let him back in the game if he could avoid getting captured.
By the way, I know people don't like feral Ezekiel, but I'll elaborate on that in a later review. It's not really a focus here. And besides, we do hear his regular voice for a brief second. So you could argue this was just method acting from him.
So who did Courtney and Gwen catch?
Well, Chris wanted a criminal, so okay, we didn't catch the right one, but...
Duncan?
Yeah, I think this calls for a CLR, aka Criticism Lightning Round. 1. When Gwen and Courtney realized they made the wrong call going to Whitechapel, I love their logic for what measure to take next.
I don't want to go back empty-handed. We should fill the bag with something.
Welcome your #1 German punk crew band, the Schnitzel Kickers!
So, you know, fucking take people.
2. How bizarre of a coincidence was it for them to come across Duncan at all? He left in the Egypt episode, but even being generous and saying the plane had been out of Egypt by the time he was ejected, their next stop was Japan. If we're talking the shortest route, England isn't situated in between those two countries, so how the hell did he get here in the first place? Did the TARDIS actually pick him up at some point and drop him off here? Because otherwise this makes no sense.
I'm nobody's taxi service. I'm not going to be there to catch you every time you feel like jumping out of a spaceship.
And 3, it is kind of funny how Duncan appears mid-season just like his girlfriend did in the last season.
Anything else I can do for you today? Duncan?
Duncan?
Some serious deja vu there, am I right? Not the most negative CLR, but I did feel it important to take all that time out just to go over this scene. But what does this mean for the game?
Thought you could skip out on the game, eh? Thought I wouldn't find you.
You didn't. We did.
And that's why Team Amazon wins today's competition.
Yes! What?
Head on back to the elimination room, dudes. First class goes to the lady. As a consolation prize, the D-Man's now on your team, but someone else is gonna have to go.
Nope. Nope. 1 versus 100 flavors of nope. The rules were to catch Jack the Ripper, not Duncan.
All the way to the Ripper's secret lair. Bag the criminal mastermind before he gets you, and you win.
Yes, you could take the phrasing he gave there out of context to mean any criminal mastermind, which would be in keeping for reality TV, I admit. But anyone with half a brain, oh hell, 1/10 of a brain knows who he meant.
Thought you could skip out on the game, eh? Thought I wouldn't find you.
And okay, I'd almost buy this if at some point in the season we heard Chris fussing over Duncan being out of the game. But the most we ever got was this.
Fine, but only because we're down a man thanks to Duncan McQuitty Pants.
Chris is looking for Duncan?
Chris has the entire total drama machine looking for Duncan.
And that's it. There's nothing to suggest that Chris might have been playing this from the start. It's just an arbitrary, unfair decision on his part. I've seen this happen before, contestants being eliminated in, say, Hell's Kitchen or MasterChef, not because they actually perform the worst, but because of some loophole moral the host has that makes said contestant seem like the right pick to go home, as opposed to someone else who obviously was worse, but made for more exciting TV. But at least that's something that's happened from the beginning with those shows. Here though, Chris just made up this decision on the fly with no lead-in whatsoever. How is this any different from his ruling in That's Off a Chain? It isn't. They're both bullshit excuses for someone to lose a challenge they shouldn't have lost. And that's because they didn't lose. They did exactly what you asked them to. I'd be furious if I were Team Chris, and I'm furious now.
And with 3 votes against him, Noah!
Goodbye, buddy. I'll win for you.
Whatever. Just beware of eels.
And even though the episode isn't over yet, I want to get this out of the way right now. What happened after the drop of shame? Well, Noah discovers his parachute is full of corgis, shows how annoyed he is at both Chris and Alejandro.
Clearly, Ali Drago was threatened by my superior mental agility. I'd be flattered if I wasn't hurtling towards the earth in a budget parachute. Thanks again for that, Chris.
Has an all-too-soft landing into a pond and gets attacked by electric eels. Both of those moments earn a point for me.
My leg!
And normally that would be where this video ends, but you know what I have to bring up first. It's okay, you can come out now. It's time.
Oh my gosh, I didn't lock the door?
The lock's busted. What happened to your paw?
This is so stupid, but I have no idea. And I'm so glad you're here to mock me about it.
Me too.
Ow. Hey.
Yes, Gwen kissing Duncan, them getting caught by Tyler, and the eventual fallout we'll get from all of this. And while the romantic interactions between Gwen, Duncan, Courtney, and Trent have been circulating for quite some time, it's debatable when it even started. Was it in the second season or even the first? But regardless of when it started, it has been a huge point of contention for this fan base, and it officially exploded into one of the biggest controversies in the show's history with this moment. I kinda like it. Yeah, I expected this to be split. Look, my thoughts on this love rectangle are divisive in and of themselves, but just analyzing this moment by itself, I like seeing Gwen and Duncan kiss. How the fridge is that possible? I mean, it's Duncan cheating on Courtney, a showman's I also had some appreciation for in the past, as well as Gwen betraying her new friend by kissing her man. Why doesn't this boil my blood? Well, for one, it's a reality show. This stuff just kinda happens, and it does make for good TV. And two, this is gonna sound really hypocritical coming from me. It's a fucking cartoon. These characters aren't really. You don't have to get that bent out of shape about this stuff. Says the guy who made a whole YouTube channel around it. I said it sounded hypocritical, and don't even think about it, Jimmy Plankton. Relax, I'm not going to punch you. Not after the lesson you taught me last time. So many stitches. I take no chances I'm keeping this up. And why are you even here? Well, it'd be your opposition, purely out of spite. I guess that was a dumb question, but fine. What are your problems with this? Are you seriously saying that you like this, but hate this?
You've been chasing after a boyfriend all this time? With a honey back home?
He's still just a guy. Justin is a supermodel.
Okay, now that's actually a reasonable thing to bring up. There's no use denying it, Ultranatic. You know I'm right. Wait. You agree with me? No, but it is probably something I should answer for. Why am I okay with Gwunkin breaking Courtney's heart, but not okay with Beth cheating on her boyfriend?
What's going on?
Who cares? I could stay like this all day.
Well, there are a few differences. One, even if you're one of those people who say Gwunkin ruined several characters in this show, at least you can say they were essential to moving the story forward, as opposed to Beth's not imaginary boyfriend, which I'm only now realizing had no impact on total drama action at all. Like, none whatsoever. What did Beth having a boyfriend have to do with anything in the season's narrative? If she'd been trying to get someone jealous and it worked, I could understand that. It'd still make these moments horrible, but at least there have been a reason for them to exist. But that never happens because no one believed Beth even had a boyfriend.
I bought a lot of junk off late night infomercials, but I ain't buying that.
So Brady could have been written out of the season and nothing would change. Well, actually it would make Beth and the season substantially better, but my point is that Brady isn't needed for anything in the show's plot. But Gwunkin, hate them all you want, but you need them kissing for a lot of what happens in the future to make any sense. Okay, fine, they have a reason to exist, but it makes them both look like assholes. Sure. And what's new about that again? What? Are you kidding me? Gwen's one of the biggest heroes in total drama history.
I can't take another second. Bye, Jeff, and thanks.
Wait up! Say cheese!
They were nothing but a bunch of party-obsessed jerks.
Gwen, you did it! Come on, Gwen, you and me, open water. What do you say?
So much for hooking up with Trent.
All good things begin with a little trust.
I trusted Trent once. He left me buried alive on the beach.
I'll bet you 2 nights dessert that the poem was for me.
Whoa, that was harsh.
Don't talk to me.
Are you still mad about the whole burying you alive thing?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Yeah, that's another thing that's different here. Gwen and Duncan actually have unheroic moments, so I can't say this obliterates their characters. As opposed to Beth, who I think was a heroic character in the first season, and her actions in the second got that image incinerated with the intensity of the flames of hell. Gwen and Duncan, even if you don't like them, are compromised enough individuals so they have an out from this moment. Okay, but are you seriously going to tell me that you like their chemistry? No. Good. I love their chemistry. What is the matter with you? There hasn't been a doctor yet to tell me, but yeah, I love seeing these two together.
I love when the killer jams that guy's hand into the lawnmower.
Or when he pushes the chick off the dock and then she lands on a propeller blade that slices her in half.
Or when he shoves that big dude's head inside the wood chipper.
Ever since they bonded over horror movies in the first season, it showed that these two had some compatibility, even if it just seemed like a friendship at the time. But if that happened to be the seeds of this showmance that eventually bloom into a beautiful dark flower, that'd be great too. Unlike Gwent, where they talked but didn't really seem attracted to each other when speaking. Seriously, their entire relationship in season 1 felt like a long, blissful sigh and nothing more. Here, when Gwen and Duncan talk, they banter, they crack insults, they get more intimate. That's a couple I can get behind. Or at least want to get behind, but I'll deal with that later. But as for this episode, I like seeing them come together, and I can't wait to continue discussing them in the future. Oh, so that means that you like the episode, I see, London? Not gonna lie, this one felt pretty uneven. It had a clumsy beginning, an excruciating middle, a pretty good climax, and an awful outcome with Team Chris losing, but a killer ending scene with Gwunkin kissing. So I guess the episode felt all over the place to me. I like the horror setting in London, as hokey as the Jack the Ripper setup was. I enjoy seeing Courtney and Gwen bonding and mocking Heather, and I found characters like Noah and Tyler to be as likably funny as usual. But, that song and, that elimination and, some of the cringy jokes throughout. I want to like it, and I can't say it's unwatchable, but if someone were to ask me if this were a fate worse than death, I'd reply, give or take, I suppose. What are you laughing about now? Oh, because things get a lot worse for you next time. What are you talking about? I like the next episode. You know, the one where they go to Greece. That's not what I meant. Don't you still have a top 10 worst hit songs of 2012 list to finish up? You just love making me miserable, don't you? It's my favorite pastime.